exaggerating because I'm filming a YouTube video? Yes. Am I fully? No. My heart's beating. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a bit of a nostalgic one for me. So this is our 2020 720S Spider. We have had this since before I even had my permit. McLaren's been my dream car since I was 10 years old. Not even. 12C was a Need for Speed Most Wanted. That car got me into cars, and since then I've been a big McLaren guy. And if you guys watch the channel, you know we have a 750 in Elva, and I don't know if I've announced it, but a W1 on order. And thankfully my dad shares the same passions as me, because obviously I can't do that. But yeah, 6 years and more. We got this car June of 2019. We're coming in on 7 years. What's gone wrong? How does it still stack up against the current cars, 750, 296, etc.? And why do we still have it with a 750? So for one, this was the first car I spec'd myself with my dad that he thankfully gave me the ability to do. Obviously, it's not my car. Well, we'll talk about that in a little. I love the spec on this. The yellow, xenon yellow accents the carbon fiber. Absolutely dream spec of my dream car. 720S is my favorite car of all time. And you might say 750S is the facelift, you guys have it, drives much better, blah blah blah, it's faster. It is faster, it is sportier, but there's something about nostalgia. Second only weakness that human neck, as Dwight Schrute says in The Office. I put these windows up for you. This car, when it came out in 2018, was demolishing everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. $450,000 cars like the 4GT would be just gaps in any race you want to do. 488, its main competitor, absolutely destroyed. When this car first came out, even as a passenger, when you do a pull in this thing, you feel fear that you've never felt in your life. So let's talk about the specs. Everyone I'm sure knows this by now, but 710 brake horsepower, which is supposed to be at the crank, obviously, but it's been tested. Most cars had around 690 wheel, which is closer to 800 crank. And when this car only weighs 3,100 pounds, even in spider form, it turns into a ballistic missile that even 7 years or 8 years after its introduction, so the coupe was a 17 in the UK, still terrifies drivers, passengers alike. Now let's talk about ownership, because that's probably why you guys clicked on this video. A lot of people complain about McLaren reliability. A lot of people specifically complain about 720s. This car has had one issue since new, and it's on the screen right now. You might see the fault light. All it is the parking sensor button. It's not working. My mechanic thinks he can fix it just with a quick, unplug and plug back in the battery. If not, it's a little minor issue. Things happen over time. Nothing with the transmission. Just routine service and accumulators done last year in 2024. So 6 years after, well, 5.5 years after we got the car. Accumulators, if you don't know, it's part of the suspension front and rear. On these cars, they have active suspension, so it's a pressurized hydraulic system. Over time, the accumulators or actuators, whatever you want to call them, Mclaren Farms accumulators, they'll fade out and you have to replace them. It happens on Range Rovers, Porsches, anything really with, like a Porsche Cayenne, not like an 11. Anything with active suspension. Well, while I'm talking, let's get a little sound clip, I guess, because this guy's pulling over. Stop, doesn't make a lot of noise. It makes a good noise though, and there's a ton of turbo noise on load. But yeah, again, service costs, not bad. First year service is about $1,500, and then it's about $2,000, a little low $2,000 for the second year. If you have a recall at one point, this car's never had a recall, but I know from the Elva, service cost comes down a lot because McLaren pays for a lot of the labor. It's really not that bad. The accumulator with the 5-year service, which includes changing clutch fluid, was about $4,500, and that's the most expensive service this car's ever had. And again, nothing's gone wrong. You can say, well, that's just one car, but now we're up to 3 McLarens. We're almost at 20,000 miles between the 3 of them, and we've had no issues with the 3 of them. And I've thankfully, through social media, been able to meet a lot of McLaren owners, and 99.9% of the owners I speak to either have had no issues or just some weird electrical gremlins that they let the car sit that clear themselves out when you drive it. I get that can be a little annoying if you're not tech savvy and you don't just want to deal with them, but this car gets driven, it's never had an issue. And I will say, because we've tried to list it for auction, Sotheby's Motorsport and Cars and Bids, it's sat the last years we've done 750. The arrangement we've now come to, because I don't want my dad to sell it and I can't afford to buy it, is I pay the registration, insurance, and service until I can afford to buy it. And so this effectively has become my car. I have all the responsibility of it, selling brakes, RIP, RIP bank account. But yeah, so now the car will be driven again, but even though it's been sitting the last 2 years, nice CO6, even though it's been sitting the last years, 0 issues. Yes, it would be driven every couple of months, but no little hiccups, just this little parking sensor thing, which again, if my mechanic's right, is really no big deal. Now, if you weren't here for the boring maintenance stuff, because you're just going to pretend that McLarens are unreliable, because that's what you hear from people on the internet. By the way, this interior, I think you guys will agree, looks brand new. I'll show you it later. But now, into the fun stuff. McLarens, still to this day, have hydraulic steering. The only other company I know that still has hydraulic steering is the Lotus Emira. That's the only car they make currently with hydraulic steering. All their other cars are EVs, so obviously they have E-Pass. Hydraulic steering, this isn't as razor quick as a 750, like going like this and this, I would literally be hitting that RAV4. It's not as completely alive, the engine's not just exploding all the time, but because of that, it takes a little more input to do stuff, so when you're just driving around normally, it honestly almost feels more engaging than a 750, whereas obviously on a track or a back road or something it would be the opposite. 750 has such a darty front end, and just the engine is just an explosion of power and sound. One of the big things that makes the 765, 750 so much quicker than this is the shorter gearing. The longer gearing though means the boost by gear. McLaren produce more boost every gear as you go up. When you go from second to third in this car, all hell breaks loose, especially because this is still on 2019 dated tires. Don't worry, I'll fix that. I'll get some new Pirellis on here. It is just a terrifying experience in third gear. There's nothing other than the Elva that I've ever driven that just gives you that raw oomph in your stomach. Yes, the 750 is quicker, much actually, but when you get up there through the gears, this terrifies you like nothing else, and it's a feeling that just can't be replicated even in the 750, its facelift / successor. The 750 now is at 5,000 miles. This is only at 10,176 because again, it's been sitting the last 2 years, or else it'll probably be around 15 to 10,000 plus the 5 for the 750 is done. But now I plan to rack up some more miles in it. If you guys know me, I did 50,000 miles on my C8. I'm already at 10,000 on my Lotus that I just started driving in May. So yeah, this will rack up some miles and will really put everything I say is great about McLaren to the test. Maybe some road trips and stuff like that. But living day to day, this is the most comfortable supercar I've ever driven. The 750 could be on that list, but we got P1 seats in that. These comfort seats are so much better. I will say though, I just did a track day with the 750. If you want to check out my channel, I have a video on that. And while I was there, I drove in a passenger seat with a race car driver, 750 in comfort seats. You don't want to be in the track in these seats. As a driver, it wasn't bad because with the steering wheel, I have tracked this car. But as a passenger, it is straight up terrifying. You're just sliding all over the place. Obviously, he was drifting too, but even just driving around fast, it's a little uneasy as a passenger. Another thing I do weirdly prefer about the 720 to the 750, some people call this car boring. They should be in an insane asylum, but whatever. I do get it's pretty quiet. But the upshifts in this are just smooth, like a PDK or anything like that, any other dual clutch. Same thing in the 750, but if you put it in manual and you're not full throttle, it'll shift you back and forth. Sorry, I just hit the visor, guys. It'll shift you back and forth like an Aventador or something, because they want to add some theater. Honestly, to me, that just feels like garbage. That's not my thing. So one thing is this transmission, even though it's not quite as quick and crisp as the 750 on shifts, so much smoother manual upshifts just driving normally, and that to me is a big deal, to be honest. As you see, the screen folds down, which I'm now realizing is not what I meant to do, because I was trying to check if the transmission's warm, and I realized I have to have the screen up and in track mode. It's been a little bit since I've driven this, but the 750 also doesn't have that really sick folding screen. The torque feeling in this is just, this is 568 pound-feet of torque. I'm not sure what the 750 is, but I'm sure it's a little bit more. But just because of the longer gears, as you go through the gear, no throttle, it just feels like there's so much power there. And then obviously if you want to put your foot down, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, especially with no grip, the kick that puts in your stomach is just unbelievable. I've driven a lot of fast cars, I've driven cars faster than this. There's still just something about when it hits boost, because that little delay in the boost, that little turbo lag that the 750 doesn't have, is just flat out terrifying. When people talk about the P1 doing, well, the P1 has T bills, probably not that, but the F40 specifically, when people talk about the F50 when it kicks in, I mean F40, sorry, it's so scary. This is the modern day version of that. That is terrifying. Even as someone who's done a lot of track and experience driving like that, like me. Let's put the handling in track. The screen's gonna go down. I'm gonna put it back up because I want it up. Don't need the engine in track because this is just a tight little back road with some hairpins. If you guys watch the channel, I think you know what's about to happen. I'm not gonna go as crazy as you guys are probably used to, mainly because of the tires, and I haven't driven this car in a little bit, so let's see how this goes. Oh my god. different. The front end just is nowhere near as loaded. Run up the hill because I see there's cars ahead of us, so we're gonna go slow for a second and punch it. But yeah, it's so weird. I don't know how much of it's tires. Well, I know the front end feel isn't tires, but it's such a different feeling to the 750. I've driven this car semi-recently, but not hard. It just... Let's get this Tesla. Nice little hop there. Down to first. So much different. Unless these front tires are just absolutely cooked, but there's just no grab in the wheel. I promise I'm not trying to discourage anybody from the 720. Again, all-time favorite car. It's just so different to the 750. It's like it's relearning a car. The funny thing is, we've had this car for so long, but thankfully my dad's always trusted me to drive these cars. But as a teenager and into my 20s, and now I'm 22, I didn't want to drive any of these cars. I feel too much personal responsibility. I can't afford it to fix something. So now that I've gotten a little older and I've started making my own money, even though I can't afford the cars, I feel more comfortable. Okay, someone almost just died. I feel more confident to drive them, so I've done way more miles in the last 2 years. So I've probably done 3,000 miles in the 750 myself, something like that. Whereas in this, I've probably only done around 1,000, and a lot of that was at the track. So I'm not as familiar with it, and relearning, or honestly just learning, is crazy. Yes, the 750 is just a facelift of the 720, especially looks-wise, but when you drive them, they really don't feel the same at all. Let's put this in track real quick, give it a bit of a hit. Oh my God. Traction control is not saving your ass on this thing. Oh my God, it probably would with better tires, but oh my God, immediately the front. I mean rear, sorry guys, my brain's so discombobulated, I don't know what. Another big thing, 720 to 750, is I forgot I had the handling and track. They were going over some bumpy roads on the way here from the middle back road there, and I didn't even notice the difference. Whereas the 750 track mode feels like you're driving on rocks, and in comfort mode is just as comfortable as this is in comfort mode. So that is another big plus of the 750. Again, my bias towards the 720 is a lot of nostalgia. I love the spec, and I know a lot of other people don't, but I couldn't let the car go for what my dad would have sold it for, so I had to make a really bad financial deal for me where the title stays in his name. He gets all the benefits. He can still use it, I guess, if he wanted to. I mean, he probably wouldn't because he gets 750, but I have to pay the maintenance and all that. So he gets a free car effectively, but I also get a free car to own, kind of-ish. So there's pluses and minuses for both of us. Just realized I haven't talked market. So a 720 coupe now, if you want an 18 with some higher miles, you can probably find one for 180 to 190. Wouldn't recommend it. No offense to those owners, but a lot of them have 5-7 owners, and a lot of them, as this sounds incredible because I'm 22, but I don't really own a Mclaren. A lot of them are just too young to own the cars. They don't maintain them enough, especially if they're financing them for long-term finance, and they know they're going to end up out of them. They don't really service them, and you just see a lot of issues with the early 18s, quality-wise, Gorilla Glass and stuff like that. That should be fixed by now, but if it was owned by 7 owners, you're going to have different new issues, and I don't know. If you're going coupe, I'd go 20 and up. The problem there is then you're paying Spider prices, which is basically for a high mileage car 230, normal 240, 250, which is about what this car's worth. It's still at that price point by far and away, because the 750 hasn't appreciated yet, the best buy in the supercar world. If you consider a Corvette Z06 C8 supercar, that's up there too. They're used, you can get a 1LZ for under 100 now, which is insane. Unbelievable bang for your buck. But honestly, I don't consider it a supercar. It's an amazing car when you have one, but they're just too bulky and heavy, and it's not even the Chevy badge thing. I've almost solely driven Corvettes for a while, and I love Corvettes. It's a completely different feel to these actual purebred supercars. So, in my opinion, 720, easily the best buy at 200. I mean, at that price, you're looking at a crazy high mileage 488 or a high mileage 458. Also a great car. My dad has a 458. Not my thing though. These are a lot more fun to me. Carbon tub, way lighter, way stiffer, and way more power. Now that we're stuck, well, facing a cop apparently, but also behind this Volvo. No fault to him. He's going the speed limit. That's cool. I'm good with it. I just want to say, I do think this is a much better daily driver than the 750, honestly. Yes, it's a lot quieter, but it's a lot nicer. I know the Bluetooth is hard to hear on the 750 because of how loud the freaking car is. This rides just as well. The chassis is not as stiff, so it really just feels floatier, which isn't my thing, obviously, but if you're driving this thing to work every day, which a lot of people would, maybe in the future I can, it's honestly, I think it'll be better than the 750. Honestly, like that kind of back road stuff, I was missing the rigidity and the just sheer insanity of the 750. But this is just so much calmer and tamer, and if I was stuck in traffic, the gearing of the 750, yes, it's easier for that, but I think night and day, this is the more comfortable thing to live with, which is interesting. That's not something I really would have thought. There's no one behind me, so I can actually slow down and give you guys a bit of pull, hopefully, without dying. Traction control is great on McLaren's, but it lets you stay in it, which is great with the modern grip, great grip on the new tires. This doesn't have that right now, unfortunately. So you gotta lift a little bit yourself. But let's just do a second gear pull, because I don't want to die. Okay, roll into a little bit so we're not just lugging in. Slip half throttle, nail it. That's 90. That is, my God, third gear in this thing feels so much faster than the 750. I know it isn't, but it just does. Am I slightly over exaggerating because I'm filming a YouTube video? Yes. Am I fully? No. My heart's beating. If anything, which is like moronic, just for the sheer terror, if I'm not tracking the car on a back road, I actually really prefer the powertrain of this. A, the transmission's smoother on manual upshifts, like I said earlier, and B, that this gearing is absolutely terrifying, and there's a reason the 720 has been known as king of roll racing, even against leader bikes. It is just demonically quick. And it's not silent. Like, I'll rev it out in first a little bit here. Maybe not, because this guy is now creeping away quite slowly. I'm not going to hit the gas, but it still makes a good noise. Does it sound turbocharged? For sure. Are there pops and bangs and some beater? Yes. When you're full throttle, is there insane turbo whooshes that make you sound like you're on a jet airliner? Yes. Honestly, just the price point these have fallen to, and the depreciation's not as bad as people make it sound. It's not like a 12C or 650. If you're talking about a car with a 340 sticker like this, and you can get 240, 250, what do you expect after 7 years on a general production car? Ferrari's not doing any better with the 488, but look at it. I just don't, there's no ownership crazy downside to this compared to Lamborghini, Ferrari, or Porsche. If Porsche or Porsche had the normal depreciation they have, the 911 right now is just so insanely inflated, new, used everywhere. Ask a Porsche dealer, they'll tell you the same thing. If you find a car like this, we're not selling this, so it's not a promo or anything, but if you find a one-owner, really well-maintained car, you see all the service records, either a good independent or a Mclaren, grab it if you can afford it. If you find one CPO, great. Just make sure that you're a reputable dealer, because McLaren CPO, I don't think it's as good as the other. Maybe the other brands are bad too. I've just heard a lot of McLaren CPO horror stories. So make sure you vet the car. If you know the former owner or something like that, that's awesome. This, as long as you buy the right one, just be smart with it. And this, you can get a bad anything, bad Ferrari, bad Lamborghini, bad Porsche, and that's what I say to people. But this, you get a good 720. There is no better deal in the supercar market right now, and it's not even close. If the 750 depreciates, will it get really close to this and the 750 becomes the best deal in the supercar market? Possible. Maybe that depreciates this a little bit more, but even though 750s aren't flying off the shelves like crazy, they're really not depreciating bad used. If you check Bring Your Trailer, you check Hargreaves, anything, unless it's just a really base spec, they're going like mid-3s, which is honestly pretty good. So if they can stay around that area, depreciate another 10-20%, these are a safe buy and they're not going down. In fact, in the last year and a half, they've been very stagnant. If anything, the coupes have gone up. So you'll be perfectly safe to buy one of these as long as you can keep your maintenance costs low with CPO or just buying a good car. If you go on the forums for McLaren, Ferrari, all these brands, you'll see McLaren's really in line, reliability-wise, with all of them. It gets you more clicks on social media. The narratives are completely different if something goes wrong with a McLaren or another supercar. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. There's countless examples on social media, just like our Spider RS and all the other RS cars right now are cracking windshields. When that was happening with the 600 LT 720, because this happened to this, it got replaced under warranty. Porsche A isn't covering ours under warranty, and B, no one makes a big deal on social media where everybody was laughing at McLaren because it gets clicks. It's crazy. Sorry, I got him stuck admiring my car. I love that thing. Look how pretty Battleship Gray looks on the Voyager GT. Let me get out and finish up the video, guys.